What's up, dudes? Chooch bringing y'all another video on the V13, and this is one y'all are gonna absolutely love. I really enjoyed this ride right here, and it really just shows exactly why I like electric unicycles so much. And it's, man, there's just everything in this video it just shows to the T of why these things are awesome. So you see this right here, I'm hopping, this is in Colorado Springs right here. I just was heading out and hopped on one of the main roads to get over to the mountains. So I'm pretty much in the central of Colorado Springs right here. I'm about to head and hop on one of the main roads that takes you over to the near where the Broadmoor Hotel is. And this is one of the kind of the main kind of fast thoroughfares through Colorado Springs right here. And I wasn't really sure of all the side roads and whatnot, but I was like, hey man, I'm on the V13. I can just take the main road right here and just absolutely send it and go. And you just see how this thing launches right here and is able to just get up to speed so fast, so smoothly. And this road right here, man, these cars are running about 45-50 miles an hour. And that's just why, man, I'm telling you that this thing is such a big advantage over the other electric unicycles that just, they feel sketchy at like 40, you know, like a lot of EUCs out there, you hit like 40 miles an hour and it's like, damn dude, it's like I'm rolling at 40 miles an hour. With this one, it's not really the case. It just seems like you could easily go, like that's why I really want to get that 60 mile per hour unlock on this wheel, is because I really feel like I could comfortably ride to 60 on it. So like right here, I'm riding it, it's a fresh charge. I'm riding probably at about 52 to 53 right here. Max speed, if I really need to go, I can get up to 54 or 55 before it would tilt back, because it is at a full charge right now. And I'm going, I mean, I'm going quick because I want to stay out in front of you know, of traffic and just go. And that's how I'm using this thing. And I'm riding to the trails right here, and I want to show you just kind of how fast you can get from a, you know, like a downtown area. If you live, you know, downtown and anywhere in Colorado or anywhere like that, and you can ride to the trails, which is an awesome thing. I went up to the trails up here and I saw a Chiron up here. There was a guy riding a Chiron. There's an incredible trail that's open for motorcycles, and I saw two fellas out there on Chirons riding. It's really a cool trail. I'm going to show y'all that in the next video, but I saw the guy pushing the Chiron back from that trail, and it just shows, man, like, and he was still way up there on some of the dirt roads in the mountains. And like with a wheel like this, I had plenty of range to ride all the way from the downtown area all the way to the trails, and I was able to ride all day and really hit a bunch of different trails, even found some trails that I liked a lot and was able to hit them twice. And then I still had plenty of battery to ride back. And as soon as I got back to where I was staying at, I got had about 30% left on this thing, which was perfect because I didn't want to be, you know, trying to ride this thing. It does speed throttle you at after 30%, but not by much. You can still ride this thing at like 40 miles an hour at 30%. And you can see right here, I'm getting really comfortable with it on the road. I do like the this knobby tire is fine once you get used to it on the road. You just have to lean hard, man. You got to really throw all your weight into it and just get used to it. And once you get used to it, I think it's a great stock tire on this thing. I love it, being able to transition from trails to the road, just like you're about to see up here. The way I find a lot of trails, guys, is I'll just head to the mountains. Like I'll just we'll be in the downtown area somewhere, and then I'll just head for the foothills and just look for trails. And I literally had no GPS on, anything like that, and I can just usually just find really cool trails, guys, to ride. And you know, this was a really fun trail. The next one's even better, but I wanted to show you exactly like some real dual sport type adventure riding on an electric unicycle to show you can ride this thing to the trails. You can do a full day's, you know, adventure on this thing, and it is so nice to do it, man. Like I love it. It is so nice. It's so convenient. The convenience factor is everything on it, and just how fast. I mean, this has been 5 minutes, and I'm about to come right up here to the trails, be able to hop in the trails and ride and have a total blast on this thing, and then pop right back out of the trails, hit the roadway, and then ride back. So this wheel right here, guys, like with the weight on it, I'm telling you, it's really not a bad thing. You saw in that one video where, or two videos ago, where I crashed it and I was trying to like hit that kind of like that little double roller on the trail. And it, I mean, really, like honestly, if the thing weighed like 15 pounds less, I probably would have cleared that gap the way I wanted to. But it's just one of those things where you really got to get adapted to this wheel with your trail riding, because it is a little bit heavier. But once you do it, you can get used to it like any other thing, man. And so with the trail riding, like with the first few miles of it, I was like, all right, I just had to figure out how early I needed to brake for my corners and whatnot. But once I figured it out, and I really kind of figured out how to, you can really kind of finesse this thing into braking quickly if you like. It just takes a little bit of riding on trails, and it's crazy how you adapt to it. But guys, I was stopping this thing so much quicker, like for my hairpin corners and stuff on the trails, like after just riding for a little bit, as opposed to just when I first started out. And it was because when I first started out, I was just going kind of straight into the corner and then braking kind of in a straight line. But as soon as I rode a little bit more and got adapted to it, I'm using the machine to kind of scrub a little bit of speed off, you know, kind of a little ski stop in there before I'm hitting that corner fully, and kind of using different feet and whatnot to like using my outside foot to kind of pull back a little bit harder, or my inside foot, whether it be a, you know, a right hand corner or a left hand corner, to really brake a little bit faster on this. And you adapt to it. Like if you just do a few miles of trail riding on this thing, and you'll go from almost overshooting like every single one of your corners to really dialing it in, man, and just being able to ride it just like any other wheel. But the only difference is this thing is just gonna feel just so smooth, man. I do like the suspension in it. I really do like the suspension. It feels, the best way to describe the suspension, if you've rode a V11, it just feels like a more refined, better, you know, a V11. If you've been on a V11, it kind of just feels a little bit springy. It feels like it just needs to be a bigger unit in there, and that's what this is. The whole suspension unit is like twice as big as the V11 is. If you look at them side by side, that's probably, you know, twice as much air in these chambers in there, and it feels solid, man. And with all that weight and everything, you look at this way this thing cruises trails, man. I mean, it really does. It cruises trails, I mean, better than really big motorcycles, man. Like this is better than adventure bikes. I mean, really, if you're taking an adventure motorcycle through here or taking this wheel through here, I mean, I really just feel like the wheel is just smoother, man. You got like one wheel and great suspension on it, so it's not bumping you around in two different directions. When you're coming through here on a motorcycle, you got two different wheels, and you got one bumping up on the front or one bumping up on the back, and it just, you know, makes everything a little bit bumpier. With this, with the good suspension on a heavy electric unicycle, man, it's crazy how it makes these trails just so smooth and like just so elegant to ride. It's such a blast, man. I mean, it's better than alpine skiing. It's just so smooth, dude. It's crazy how graceful. And these are not smooth trails. I mean, there's rocks everywhere on these right here, but that suspension is just enough to just smooth everything out perfectly. Even hitting a little bit of mud in there, you know, you can preload and still get a little bit of air. You see me still trying to preload and get a little bit of air even after that crash I had. I'm not trying to do anything major and still snap it around. So right there, you see how I did a turnaround on the trail real quick like on it? You know, that took a little while to get down on this big wheel like that. Surprisingly, being able to just snap it around and turn on a dime on a single track trail like that on the V13, you know, the first few days of doing it, I would, you know, have to step off of it to one side or something just because it's a heavy wheel and it may seem awkward. But after you do it a few times, man, it just snaps around. You know how to use the weight of the wheel, you know, as an advantage, you know, and work with the fulcrum point of it to just snap it around on a dime like any other wheel. And I mean, you see right here, this thing really does. It rides like a great high-end adventure bike, like a high-end, you know, KTM dual sport adventure bike. It's just cruising, man. And like, this is the perfect little place to showcase exactly how this thing rides on the trails. It really rides great. I cannot complain at all. There's a little bit of ice right here, a little bit of slick ice. this kind of, you know, been walked on a little bit. You know how that is. That's some slick stuff. And this tire handles it great. This tire, I love it for the road. I've liked this tire for years. It's the same one that's on the Sherman pretty much. This is just the 22-inch version, a little bit bigger. But you see it really just handles everything well. You can't complain. The only thing that's just going to take a little bit of getting used to is your high-speed corners. You're going to just have to really throw your body weight off to the side of it, like you're riding a crotch rocket, in order to get this thing to corner with this knobby tire on it. But if you want to ride trails and stuff like this, if you want to be able to transition from the road to trails like I did in this video, then you're gonna want to keep the stock tire on it. I have no complaints with it. It is fabulous. One thing you can do, guys, is put a little bit of tire slime in it, and that'll prevent you getting any flats on the trails. One thing, like, you really have to do that with a lot of your wheels, man, and it just helps you, because changing a flat tire on electric unicycles is not impossible to do. It's not very hard to do. It just takes time. Okay, so you just got to disassemble like half the unit and, you know, pop the whole like wheel out. With this one, it's way easier. But one thing you can do to prevent that, with a lot of my wheels, I've never gotten flats in them, and I've rode them thousands and thousands of miles. One thing you can do is just put some green tire slime in there. And I would just get, with this wheel right here, I would just go ahead and put probably like 32 ounces, or probably one of those 16-ounce bottles in there. Yeah, probably a 16-ounce bottle. They come in like the smallest little bottle. I would just use the whole thing and fill this, you know, fill the tube up with it and then pump it up, and you're never gonna get a flat. And that'll prevent, you know, from anything, from nails in the trail, from sharp rocks, from glass, from whatever it may be, because all it takes is one of those to just ruin your day. And then you know, it's not something quick. Like if you're on a trip or anything like that, you're not gonna have the tools with you to disassemble it and do everything there. So it's good to have that tire slime in there as a preventative thing. I'll link some below. Just get it, you know, deflate your wheel, squirt some in there, pump it back up, you'll be good to go. But see right here, this thing rides trails great. You see that suspension actually working. I got the suspension to where I feel comfortable with it, to where whenever, you know, I'm hitting coming up on a little bump before a corner, anything like that, even at a graceful speed, you see that suspension engaging and working and doing what it should. I feel like I'm able to, you know, power into corners and out of corners and use it, you know, like you should. I really think just INMOTION does well with this suspension, man. Like the V11 suspension is really not bad, man. And like this too, it just works. It works very well. It simply does. And you can just feel it. There's no other wheel really like, and you really feel the suspension working on a heavier wheel like this. It feels so nice, man. I can't explain it. It just feels nice. It really just feels like you're on it just an elite piece of equipment riding around through the forest and gliding around. It's just awesome. So with riding like this, guys, like this type of riding right here. So you saw how I got on it and was able to ride for a little bit, 5 minutes or so, all out full speed. I was able to hop into some trails, into some back roads where I was going, you know, maybe 20, 25, 30. Now I'm hopping on some trails where I'm going, you know, maybe 15, 20, maybe up to 30. And guys, that's really how you get the full enjoyment out of a wheel like this, and how you really, you know, it's what is, in my opinion, just how I like to ride EUCs, because this is not using a ton of battery, but it's a lot of fun. I love riding trails and stuff like this. It doesn't eat battery compared to that all out, you know, full send riding like I was doing on that main road to get over to the trails. So, you know, you can open it up every now and then like that. I love being able to open it up on the wide open sections. And, you know, that is why I was able to get such good range out of this thing. I really was able to get great range on all my rides, riding them like this in an adventure riding type of way, where, yeah, I open it up and have my fun, but the whole entire time I'm not riding it at 50 miles an hour. And I think that's just where a lot of people, it is such an addictive wheel to ride that fast, but you can also trail ride it and stuff too. And man, you can get a full day's worth of riding out of this thing, man. At 3,000 watt hours and riding on trails and stuff at this speed, mixing it in there with your high-speed riding, it really makes it to where this thing, I really wasn't wanting more range out of it, man. I got all my fun out of it. I was able to get all the riding in I wanted to, and by the time I was, look at how that suspension just handled that right through there, man. Rarely would I come through there that fast on any other wheel. Non-suspension wheels, I literally have to dismount, and you see that, man. I feel comfortable and confident with this thing, even on ledges like that, sketchy ledges and everything. You really get used to this wheel. So for anybody out there that may be hesitant of getting this wheel because of the weight or anything like that, like if you're a guy my size, or even a little bit bigger, you're gonna be able to handle this thing fine, and you're gonna really enjoy it. And I love the build quality of it. I love the way it rides. This is gonna be my go-to wheel for a lot of things. I really like it. I really do. And you just see that, how you're able to go right from the trails, get on the road, and have that speed there. Even you saw how that thing was nimble in the trails. I was able to maneuver it, even hit jumps on those sketchy ledges, and then I'm able to transition straight to the road right here and just open it up and ride it at high speeds on the roadway. And it corners great. Once you, like, when I first got on, I was having trouble like with my my right hand corner, or actually my left hand corners as opposed to my right hand corners. Like, I was kind of struggling with that. And once I adjusted my power pads and kind of got used to it, again, I was able to completely negate that, and I don't have a problem with it anymore at all. It's all in just riding it more, man. Like, you just get so used to these wheels over time. Whenever I'm switching from any other wheel and I just get a wheel in the mail and I gotta ride it for a little bit and get used to it, and get a video out, like the first few videos just aren't going to do it justice, as opposed to say a month later of having it. Like, it just, my riding has improved so much on this thing compared to whenever I first got it. It's crazy, and I just feel it, man. I feel like I can just throw this thing around, and so confident on it, and everything about it, in my road riding and my trail riding, everything on it. My confidence has increased through the moon since like the first week of having it. And honestly, I haven't been on any other wheel. Like, if I transition back to like a V, I haven't even done that. Like, I want to go try out like one of my V12s, like with my V12 high torque with the good power pad setup and the good E-Rides pedals. I really like my little V12 high torque. That setup is so good. I feel so dialed in on that thing. But I feel like if I got on that wheel, bro, I would just be able to just throw it around and just jump. Like, I would be able to just, because my legs have gotten so used to the weight of this thing, I'd be able to get on that little V12 and just bunny hop it over like a Volkswagen, right? Like, I really, honestly, you'd be able to just jump that thing. I gotta be careful next time I ride a lighter weight wheel, because if I preload for the big enough jump, I'm just gonna fly to the damn moon basically after riding this thing. But it really is a whole new world of electric unicycles. This thing is, I mean, it's a game changer. It's basically opens up a whole new tier of like riding for electric unicycles. I mean, really, there's no other wheel out there where I would be able to cover as much ground. This is completely unedited, completely just raw footage of 18 and there's almost 19 minutes of riding now. And just look at the amount of ground I've covered. I mean, the amount of ground I've covered, road trails on this thing, gotten from town to the mountains, done a trail ride, and then finished a trail ride all in under 20 minutes basically on it. And this is all real time. And it's crazy, like, it just shows how awesome electric unicycles are, man. It shows how good this one is, and it shows how awesome they are in general. And I think this is a great one. I think, really, honestly, if you've been into the hobby for a while, if you've had one or two EUCs, and you want to just get the next thing to open up that window where you can ride in a manner like this and kind of just dual sport ride, really go fast, really, ride all day, get your trail rides in, man, the range is not a bad thing. Like, I literally was very impressed with the range on this whenever I was riding it in a manner like this, where you're doing, trails and switchbacks and everything that's just not all out straight line road riding, where you're just, using all that all that battery up in such a short period of time. If you're really mixing up your terrain, you get crazy good range, man. It makes the ride seem so enjoyable and so long doing that. Like, I love this type of ride right here. This right here is one of the best electric unicycle rides. I mean, I could show you in 20 minutes to show anybody why you should get into the hobby or why you should like EUCs. This right here, this video shows the capabilities of the V13 and also like why EUCs are awesome. Look at this, just being able to transition to roads. I mean, we've been on trails, dirt roads, main roads, twisty mountain roads, all in 20 minutes, man. And like, this is genuinely like the best 20 minutes you could have on an electric unicycle right here. I mean, really, it is. It did all the things, all the fun things. You had some fast runs in there, some twisty mountain roads. I mean, really, now I'm on dirt roads ripping through the Rocky Mountains on this thing. It just encapsulates the total joy of electric unicycles. It really does. If you guys want to pick up one of these things, if these things look interesting to you, click the links below, guys, and you can pick up a V13 or any electric unicycle of your choice. I'm not trying to sell you on a $4,000 wheel as your first, electric unicycle. If you see this hobby and you want to get into it, you can really get into riding and get a ton of fun out of it with all sorts of wheels that cost less than this one. Just use the links below, guys, to pick up one if you do want to get one. And if you want to get the V13, use my links below. It helps me at no extra cost to you. I did go splurge and get a nice hotel for this trip and basically spent all my YouTube money for the month to go on this trip, but it was so totally worth it, guys. And that's what it's all about. It's just all about having fun with it and the experience. And whenever I look back on this, it's all about the journey, not the destination. So I love doing this, guys. It's so much fun. Look at this. Like, I find cool stuff along the way like this, like little caves and stuff. And I was like, hey, I want to try out the lights and see how good the headlight works going through this cave. So, but I encourage you to get out there and explore different spots, go to different towns, go to different cities, and that's what it's all about with the electric unicycles, guys, and getting out in nature and just enjoying life. But if y'all enjoyed the video, throw it a thumbs up. If y'all want to see some more on the V13, I got it coming. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you dudes in the next one. So this next part coming up is absolutely probably the most fun trail I've ever rode, and the V13 handled it great. It was a legit dirt bike trail. I'm going to have it in the next video. So if you're watching this video and you just dabble and say, hey, I watch every now and then, make sure you watch the next video I put out. It is going to be the coolest single track trail you've ever seen me ride on an electric unicycle, and it's going to be done on the V13. I absolutely flew through this trail. I'm going to be telling y'all the name of the trail and showing y'all how to get to it coming up next. Be sure to subscribe. Make sure if you want to pick up one of these, you use the links below. It helps me out big time at no extra cost to you. I'm able to go get hotel rooms and go travel to cool places and ride more cool trails. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one.